back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! So it has been a while since I made a video, and that was kind of unplanned. I don't really have a reason besides lockdown, COVID, lots of other things kind of taking my attention. There was the entire Black Lives Matter movement that happened kind of whilst I was away from YouTube, and it's still ongoing. I've been educating myself on Black Lives and just generally what it's like to live in a society that is racist towards you. I've been watching lots of TV shows about it on Netflix. I'll leave some links down below to some of the ones I've watched that I really recommend if you're interested. And I've also been reading some books, which I think I'll do a separate video on some of the books that I've read. But generally I've been trying to educate myself a lot more on the topics of Black lives and just generally be a lot more aware. It is something I was obviously aware of before, that society is racist, but not enough, and I hadn't educated myself enough, and it took some of my friends and people I knew and admire saying a lot vocally about it for me to really decide I need to take time to read these books. So I kind of delayed a lot of what I was reading. I kind of just, yeah, I took a bit of a hiatus from some of the TBRs I had. I'm still going to read those books, don't worry, but I just kind of detoured away from them for a little while and read some things that were a bit more related to that topic, which I will definitely talk about on this channel more. And so along with COVID and along with that, I haven't been making any videos either. One other thing that I will update you guys on is the SBFBO. I am reading those books currently. I've read loads of them. I'm almost halfway done with my batch of 30, so you'll be getting some bulk reviews fairly soon. And I do have one that is a potential semi-finalist at the moment, so I'm quite excited about that one and definitely looking forward to telling you guys more. But I thought the easiest way for me to come back and boost up the channel again was with a book haul. So let's go on to the books that I've been sent throughout lockdown, throughout this time period, and just tell you guys a little bit about them. One of the first ones I was sent a good while ago now, so apologies for this video being a bit delayed, is The Black Sky, which is by Timothy D. Minecki, I believe. This is an advanced reader copy, and it actually came with some swag, so I've got a little badge, which hopefully you guys can read. It says Manhattan Island Security Enforcement, sort of placemat, I suppose, drinks mat for hard to find, harder to leave, the dank Las Vegas, which all sounds very intriguing. This book actually comes out in August, so it's not quite out yet, it's the end of August, and it's actually a book that was originally written chapter by chapter, and these chapters were posted online, and each of the chapters had beta readers online who could read the chapters and give their feedback and things like that. So hopefully it's a good book. It also has some associated like Spotify playlists and YouTube playlists of songs and theme songs and all that sort of stuff, because it was all posted online and fans managed to kind of collate their stuff as well. So quite interesting idea for a book, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic near-future version of Manhattan where there are different survivors, kind of some of them living outside the city and some in a walled city, but it's all leading up to some sort of trying to save one particular man. So I'm pretty interested. It seems like it'll be a pretty quick, fast-paced dystopia, so post-apocalyptic, which all sounds good to me. Next up, I was sent a sequel, which I'm very excited about. This is The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, sequel to The Ruin of Kings, and this one came out on the 9th of July from Tor in the UK, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because I think I did do a review of the first, or at least I did some sort of vlog where I talked about it. I'm sure I did. So I'll try and find that and link that. But I really enjoyed the first. It took me 2 attempts to get into it because I was audiobooking and the audio was a little odd. So I'm glad I have the physical one for the second one. I really enjoyed it once I did get into it, and it's one of those stories that's told from different characters narrating their points of view, so you never quite know who to trust and what the real story is. So I found it really, really fascinating, and I highly recommend the first one, and I'm hopeful that I'll get to the second one soon, although It's a chonker. So this one has, yeah, about 700 pages. It's definitely long, but I'm definitely keen to get back to this series and this world, and hopefully I'll really enjoy it. Next up I have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, who is the author of Gods of Jade and Shadow. I read Gods of Jade and Shadow for the BookTube SFF Awards relatively recently. It was an enjoyable read, but I felt like I wanted a little bit more of the culture and a little bit more of the characters from it. So I enjoyed it, but I wanted more, and I believe this is her second book. Apparently this is a feminist reimagining of Gothic fantasy, which sounds like it's ticking a lot of boxes, and it's set in the 1950s in Mexico, and there is a young socialite who finds out all sorts of secrets about an old abandoned mansion. It says it's for people who are fans of things like The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge, which I really enjoyed. So if it's in that kind of vein, I think it will definitely be my thing. Again, it's not a super long book. The Gods of Jade and Shadow wasn't a super long book either, so I do slightly worry that maybe there's not going to be the development I want, but hopefully there will be. It's just under 300 pages, so we'll see, fingers crossed. I suppose if it's just one character that it's focused on, then maybe she's got time to really develop that character. So I'm hopeful about this and definitely looking forward to reading more from this author and seeing how she progresses as a writer. And that one came out at the very end of June. Next up I have one I'm really excited about, and that is this one, The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow, who is the author of The Thousand Doors of January, which I really enjoyed once I got into it. I was pleasantly surprised. Again, that was a book that I read for BookTube SFF, and I really was shocked at how much I enjoyed that book when I got into it. This one's an even chunkier book, I think, and it looks beautiful, I'm sure you'll agree. It comes out October of this year, so I've got a bit of time to get to it, and it sounds like it's based in 1893, following some sisters who join the suffragettes of New Salem, and they want to take back power for women. Witches have been outlawed and are no longer a thing, but I guess they want to bring it back, and they want to somehow bring the women's movement towards the witches movement, which sounds like it's going to be quite political, but also pretty inspiring and feminist, so I'm pretty up for this, I must admit. Witchy feminism sounds good to me. Next up I have a pair of books in the same series, and that is these two. The Girl Who Could Move Shit with Her Mind, and then Random Shit Flying Through the Air, both of which are by Jackson Ford, and this just sounded too good to miss. When I saw the first one in the shops, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool, and then when the second one came out, I was like, I have to get this series. So I requested it from the publisher, and it sounds like it's focused on a character called Tegan Frost, who's got telekinetic powers, and somehow the government gets a hold of her and wants to make use of her powers, but she just doesn't really want to be manipulated by the government. She wants to be able to do what she wants and just kick back and enjoy a beer. So it sounds like it's going to be fairly humorous, fairly enjoyable read, and it's definitely one that I think I've heard a lot of good things about. The second one came out just this month in July, 9th of July, so it's a pretty new series, but certainly one that I'm very excited by. I love the typography and the designs of the covers, I think is really unique. I then have another series, or the start of a series. The first one in that series is Velocity Weapon, and then the second one is Chaos Vector. The first one I am planning to read anyway because I have it on one of my TBRs, and it's one that loads of people recommended to me when I asked for book recommendations on Twitter. Lots of people said this is a great science fiction. It's about a woman called Sander, and her gunship exploded. She expected to be recovered by salvage medics, but instead she wakes up 230 years later on a deserted enemy starship called the Lighter Berossus, but he prefers to call himself Barrow, and he is a sentient kind of ship who tells her that the war is lost and the entire star system is dead. So it sounds pretty cool. The second one actually comes out the end of this month in July, and I'm pretty excited about this as well. Obviously I won't tell you what the second one's about, but yeah, definitely looking forward to this. It's certainly one that's got loads of high praise from lots of other authors that I like. So fingers crossed I really enjoy this series as much as you guys have been raving about it to me. I think I will. Next up I have Love Bites, which is by Rai Herman. This one sounds like it's a lot more light-hearted. So this one sounds sounds like it is to do with the vampires, I would imagine from the front cover. It's about a girl called Chloe who's gone through a really painful divorce, kind of finding it hard to exist and really find a reason to live. However, she goes out one night to a club and there she meets a woman called Angela, and Angela is the only person who sort of starts making her come back to reality a little bit. However, Angela has a secret about how she can only come out at night, how she doesn't feel the cold or eat, and she has a sharp and deadly teeth. So it sounds a little bit like a rom-com with two women, one of whom's a vampire, which sounds pretty hilarious and pretty different. So I think this will be perfect for like a light-hearted read when I want to get to it. And this one came out this month as well in July. Next up, I have a book which I've already read. This is The Apprentice in the Master's Shadow by In Gregoire. I really loved the first book in this series. It was one of the SPFBO entries I think a year or two ago, which was one of my semi-finalists. I really enjoyed it. However, I thought it needed a little bit of work, and the author did go back and do that work and changed the covers and made them really beautiful and kind of revised it. I read that version, really enjoyed it, and now I've read the second book, which I highly recommend. I ended up giving this one 5 stars, so it's definitely worth reading, and I would certainly say if you like anything to do with kind of rebellious main characters, lots of magic, you're probably going to really enjoy this series. And this one's obviously going to go straight on my shelf because I've actually read it, which is always good when I have a book in a book haul that I've already read. And the final one I have in this book haul is this one, Sorcery of a Queen, which is by Brian Naslund, and it's been cited as part Game of Thrones, part superhero epic. This one is actually the second one in the Dragons of Terror series, so I won't tell you much about it, and I actually didn't get sent the first, so I'm not quite sure why I've got the second, but I will try and get my hands on a copy of the first so that I can read it. It sounds like this author has a lot of praise and has been really good at dragons sort of focused stories, which sounds good to me, and I don't really need to know too much more than that for wanting to pick the first one in the series up. So that's all of the books I've been sent since I last did a book haul. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think there's some really exciting stuff in this particular book haul, so do let me know what you want me to read first. And thanks guys for watching. I promise I will be a little bit more regular with my videos from now on. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.